because we want to show you some of their baits and how you can use those and in your local waters.
I'm going to start off with how many of you have ever heard of the shaky head method?
Shaky
heads. Anybody fish a shaky head? Okay, well, there's different kinds of hooks. Right there behind the head of the hook, there's different styles of bait holders on there. There's a screw-in pattern, a little spring-looking pattern. That's what I have here. There's also little nail patterns. And the good thing about that, you just slide it on there. They're quick and easy. You're not going through the whole bait. The corkscrew style holds your bait a little bit better, okay? Here we got the paddle tail on here. This is the green pumpkin. If there was only one color that I had to choose from, I'd choose that green pumpkin. I'd be fishing that any day. On the shaky head, guys, you're just gonna cast that out there and let it go right to the bottom. Always watching for slack line movement, always watching your line. Once you get that down to the bottom, you're just gonna sit there and shake that rod tip. Just shake that rod tip.
That might be why they call it the shaky head.
That's the ticket right there. Just work them right along the bottom. This little 5-inch paddle tail.
Tell us what lakes is this going to work on?
I'll tell you what, this last fall, back in November, we were down fishing Lake Powell. Lego my ego. We tried to bend these hooks back and everything, but
bass lures work. Look at that. They want that Maniac lure.
I never would have thought, guys. I'm not much of a trout fisherman anymore. It used to be years ago, but once I got into the bass scene, boy, that's the ticket.
Now, this is green pumpkin color.
Green pumpkin.
What's the length on this worm?
5 inches.
5 inches.
5-inch paddle tail. Any kind of, when you start fishing patterns like this, is when you first start tournament fishing, guys, you'll get 200 boats out there on some of these big tournaments. 2 guys to a boat. There's 400 guys out there fishing, and I tell everybody, 400 guys in 6 days, they can do some damage.
Anybody out there want one of these baits? Because obviously it's working. There's no hook on there. Anybody want one of these?
You can swim these suspended.
All right, take it over to the booth over there, match it up, buy yourself one. Oh, that guy over there says, I gotta have one.
He just don't want to let go of that bad boy.
All right.
But it's kind of a finesse bait.
Must be part of the Denver Bronco team over there.
That's a finesse bait. It's when you're going to slow down. It's really not a search bait. Once you've found the fish and you know where the fish are holding, you can cast that out there, work it along the bottom slow.
Oh yeah, we got feeding frenzy going on here, but I don't think it's in the tank.
Let's go with another one right here, the salt stick. We got the Salt Pro. Again, just cast this out there. Now this is the way that we've hooked this one right here in the metal. We call this wacky rigging. And when that bait just flutters down to the bottom, it's just like a set of wings out there. And that little subtle action on this bait just drive those bass absolutely nuts. They can't stand it. Now the key to fishing this bait when you're, especially on a wacky rig out here, okay? The key to fishing this bait is when you cast out there, I'll have a lot of slack line on the top of the water. It'll all be coiled up and everything. I don't worry about that. I might even have 10 feet of slack line between my reel and my bait. And what you're gonna do is you're just gonna let that fall all the way to the bottom. Even if you're fishing in an area where there's suspended fish, suspended bass, I can guarantee if they hit that, if you're fishing 20 foot deep and the fish are at 10 feet and they hit that at 10 feet, they're gonna start swimming off with it. You're gonna notice in that line coil, it's gonna disappear rapidly. If you've ever cast out there and it's gone to the bottom, you know it's been sitting there for a couple of minutes and nothing. I just like to raise my rod tip and I'll even go way back in the back of my head and then just drop it again. Don't worry about that slack line. Just give them the slack. It's a bait where you're not filling, you're not taut, you're not filling for the bait and everything. You're watching your line.
What's your biggest fish on that bait, Roger?
Probably up in the 7-pound range. We was down in California in 2004. I caught a couple of the biggest fish ever that I've fished in tournaments. It was on the California Delta, and this salt stick was about the only thing I had in my hand all day long. Now, like I say, this is a slow action. You're not going to be searching for fish with this bait right here the way that we've got it rigged, but you can. And what I recommend is Texas rigging it. You just nose hook it and go up to about a 3/8 ounce hook or a weight on there, and then it'll fall. You're going to get a faster fall. It's going to go to the bottom, and you can work it a little bit faster. But you can see that action right there as that just flutters down there. Once them bass get a hold of it, you might say, well, man, you got all that slack line in there. I can guarantee you, once them fish have it in their mouth, they're not going to let go.
They don't. It's a great bait. One time I was fishing with a guide on Lake Nacogdoches in Texas. He says, flip right here, we're going to catch a big fish. I flip in there, he flips in there, I pull out a 6, he pulls out an 8. I'm like, hey, you should have told me to flip over there. It's a pretty sweet bait.
Let me talk a little bit about this cutter bug. We've got them in 3 different sizes, 1.5 inch, 2.5, and 3.5 inchers. Now, I've got a 3.5 incher on there right now, and this technique is what we call a split shot. Just a single weight. If you have to go up another one, you can either go up in size or you can add a weight on there. But you're just going to drag this on the bottom, but I want you to notice the action on this tail as that flutters down to the bottom. Again, you're going to let this bait go all the way to the bottom, and you're just going to drag it across the bottom real super slow.
They